Happy Tuesday, my friends, and welcome back into another edition of Prime Sports World. Please like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. I'm David Huffman. Right there is my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. On today's episode of the Prime, we're going to be breaking down the conference championship recap, and we're going to preview the UFL championship. I gotta fix that on the graphic. Just give me just a second to get that right quick. All right. We're gonna preview the conference championship. We're trying to be the number one hub for all things UFL. So if you stuck with us for the entire season, we very much appreciate it, as we are now down to 2 teams in the UFL. Happy Tuesday, TJ. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm doing okay. You know, it's Tuesday. I had a pretty good day at the office. It should be a good week. And you know what? The UFL, the conference championship games, both of them fairly entertaining.
Yeah, for the most part.
Especially that third quarter in that Stallions-Panthers game. Let me tell you,
six total turnovers. Like, that is
it's unheard of. It was a wild quarter. Let's get right into it. Not waste any more time. Let's talk about the first matchup, the USFL conference. We got the Michigan Panthers falling to the Birmingham Stallions as the Stallions tried to three-peat in spring football. It was all looking like sunshine and rainbows for the Michigan Panthers at halftime as they were up 18-9. But it did feel like the Panthers left a lot of points on the board, settling for 4 field goals, I think, in the first half. And then the Stallions, they came back. They got a pick six, a scoop score touchdown, and then they made a really ballsy move by head coach Skip Holtz to bench the league MVP and Adrian Martinez in favor of Matt Corral. He leads them to 2 touchdown drives. They win the game. The Panthers do not score in the second half. Stallions win 31-18. And Jake Bates missed 2 field goals, had 1 blocked in this game as well. Danny Etling was not good in this game, to say the least. 18 of 29, 182 yards, a touchdown, those 3 interceptions. Matt Corral came in, threw 2 touchdowns and a pick. TJ, what did you see out of this game?
I think Michigan lost this game more than Birmingham won it, if that's fair to say. It's benching the MVP is, like you said, that's ballsy. That's
yeah. I mean, man. This is the guy that got you there. You have a 9-1 record, and he wasn't even like. I mean, he did throw that 1 interception, and he did have that 1 fumble, but I mean, that fumble wasn't really his fault. He should have He should have diagnosed it at the snap, but Birmingham was killing themselves in the first half. 11 penalties for 111 yards. I'm not sure how much of that was in the first half, but it felt like they had a ton of penalties in the first half.
But that's why that's why the coach is the coach. Like, you are in that position to make you got to make the tough decisions, and credit to him, he made it, he stuck with it. And
I mean, even after the first early interception, it would have been easy to been like, okay, well, he doesn't have it today, let's just go back to Adrian Martinez, but he stuck with Matt Corral after that.
And and to his benefit, hey, it worked out for him. Now Michigan imploding the way that they did absolutely helped the matter, because that
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, bro. Like you said, and we say it all the time, bro. Like, because of the scoring system in the UFL, no game is completely over until it's over. We'll get into that in the next game. 18-9 seems, insurmountable. And then
especially how inept the Birmingham Stallions offense was in the first half.
Yeah.
I mean, you did not think that they were going to be able to put together drives and create offense. 15 points felt like a big lead at one point.
Yeah, like 15 points feels like that's 2 possessions. Like, that's like in your head, you like, hey, a lot has to go right for me to get back in this thing. And right now, it's looking like it's not gonna go right. Like, we can't do nothing. And right when you think Michigan is gonna, put some more distance between them and Birmingham, where they like increase the lead. It's a missed field goal by Jake Bates. It's a interception thrown. It's a fumble, and these were like costly turnovers. And it's just like, are you? And it's like they create momentum by getting a turnover, and then they give it right back, and it was just so much back and forth. And then Birmingham just said they didn't panic. They're 2-time chance for a reason. It's like, hey, we're still in this.
Yeah.
We score like one touchdown. We score one touchdown and we're back in this. And lo and behold, they got it and they kept scoring and Michigan just like they imploded. It was ugly.
Yeah, it was real ugly. Yeah, a lot of like the quarterback play for Michigan all season really has just not been all that good, and so it's not surprising that the quarterback play ended up being their downfall. Their running game also was like, they did average 3.3 yards per clip, but like they only had 80 yards rushing in the game. You think if you have a lead like they had, you'd rush the ball for more than 24 attempts. Take a little bit of pressure off your quarterback. And we talk about this all the time, especially in the National Football League. If you get a team, like, go for the throat, like kicking field goals doesn't win championships. Touchdowns win championships.
Touchdown, and I don't care what you call, and that's a true statement at every level of football, from Pop Warner to the pros. Like, hey, leaving points on the board don't equate to wins. Like, like 6. Like, we say it all the time. Like, it don't matter who your other opponent is. Like, you could be playing Pat Mahomes. It doesn't matter. Hey, touchdowns. You gotta score touchdowns. You gotta score touchdowns to win this game. And
yeah, I mean, congratulations to the Michigan Panthers for making it this long, this far into the season. Their season obviously comes to an end. Birmingham continues to move on. Real quick before we get into the next matchup, so in the championship game that we're going to preview here in a few minutes, who do you go with at the quarterback position if you're Birmingham? Do you go with Matt Corral or do you go back to Adrian Martinez?
You go back. I think you go back to Adrian Martinez. He's the MVP for a reason. He got, like you said, he got you to 9-1. And if you're Birmingham, you could wholeheartedly say we're going to keep doing the 2 QB system till it don't work no more. Hey, it's gotten them this far.
100%, 100%.
It's got so we're gonna ride with Adrian. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, depending on the situation, that we see both quarterbacks play in the game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that's justified. Swinging into the Sunday matchup, the San Antonio Bravos are moving on into win the XFL championship as they dismantled the St. Louis Battlehawks. This was almost a wire-to-wire victory for the San Antonio. Actually, I think it was a wire-to-wire. Yeah, for sure it was a wire-to-wire victory for the San Antonio Brahmas. They win 25-15. Even when St. Louis looked like they were mounting a comeback, San Antonio did what they needed to do. They kicked a field goal. They kind of swelled momentum there a little bit. They did that in twice, actually. You thought maybe St. Louis was going to come back and kind of get this game under control. Twice, San Antonio needed to have big drives, and big drives they got. 2 field goals by Ryan Santos. Shout out to him, who had missed field goals for 3 games in a row, had not made one in 3 games, made 2 of the biggest kicks in the season, a 31-yarder and a 41-yarder. I'm also agreeing with so I finally got a chance to rewatch that replay of that Hakeem Butler non-touchdown. I think that was a touchdown.
I think that was a touchdown.
I think it's really close. Like, it's really close, but I think that was a touchdown, and they ruled that was a touchdown.
It's a different ball game.
It's a totally different ball game. But I think the XFL has earned the benefit of the doubt that the fact that call was correct. But I think there's some question marks because the officiating in the XFL has been awesome. Like, there's been no question marks about, like, has there been bad officiating? There hasn't been. So I think they've earned that benefit of the doubt that they got that call right. But it's real close.
It was, and usually in that situation, like, it's real close. It's the call on the field. Usually is going to be the one that stands. And Me personally, hey, if I was in that situation, I probably would have called it a touchdown. That's just me.
I mean, man,
Um,
give it a Keith Butler's body of work. I would have been like, oh, that's like Keith Butler. That's a
that
touchdown.
that's like, hey, like,
But
that's
San Antonio basically ran it down the throat of the Battlehawks, averaging 6.1 yards per carry. Big shout out to their offensive line, 35 carries for 213 yards. And they just basically sucker punched St. Louis Battlehawks, and they never recovered in this game.
They straight up punked them, man. They punked them. They went in their house, sat on their couch, sat on their couch, right? Put their feet up on their table and started bossing motherfuckers around like, hey, bring me something to drink, make me a sandwich, like all that good stuff. This is the second year in a row that we've seen the Battlehawks go to the championship game and just get mollywopped. Like it wasn't even close. Like the same thing happened last year. And it's like, okay, like, and like literally the same thing happened.
I mean, that's what kind of happens when you go up against a big bruising team like the Brahmas and you have kind of a finesse football team. This is what happens sometimes.
Finesse real fast, but like the thing is, like you got that bruiser in Hakeem Butler. Like the fact that they couldn't get him the ball is baffling.
Yeah, I mean, six catches for 59 yards. He was targeted 10 times. Man, he had that. I mean, I would have been throwing it to him every time I got. I mean, even if he's going, Hakeem Butler's down there somewhere. Hell with it. Let's go,
like, bro. Like that's because it's one thing you can't teach in football is you can't teach 6'5".
No. Did you see what Wade Phillips said to him after the game?
No.
So after the game, Wade Phillips basically during the post game stuff, Wade Phillips is like, "Hey, I'm gonna make some phone calls for you and try to get you in the National Football League."
Good. Because Hakeem Butler, like he was like, if anybody doesn't know Hakeem Butler's story, Hakeem Butler was in the NFL. I think he got drafted out of Arizona State. He was a monster Iowa State. He was a monster at Iowa State. He gets drafted. He goes to teams that just didn't know how to use him, which I don't understand. Like, how do you not understand how to use a guy that's 6'5"? Just throw him up, like just put him outside, put him in the red zone. Hey, you're 6'5", he's not, jump ball, go get it. It got to a point where I think that he was on the Jets, and the Jets tried to convert him to a tight end. And it's just like, oh, well, Hakeem Butler's trash. Well, yeah, you got the Jets trying to use him as a tight end. Like, yeah, like that went about how you expect, like a guy who's never played tight end, by the way.
So yeah, kudos to Wade Phillips. A big shout out to him as he basically was like, yeah, I'm gonna help you get you back. I'm gonna help you get back you in the National Football League. You deserve to be playing on Sundays. But back to this game. I mean, this is just like Chase Garbers did enough to win the game. 15-21, 197 yards, and 2 touchdowns and a pick. And TJ kind of talked about this. I mean, St. Louis Battlehawks also got real cute in that with that first possession or second possession of the game. I think it was. I mean, just a really bad end around. Like a flea flicker end around that just was a disaster. Like,
yeah, like it's just like there was no need for that at all. No. It's just like, what's the point? Like, what was the point of that? Like,
and I mean, also bad coaching down the stretch. Really, I mean that pointless play by A.J. McCarron at the end of the second half that basically almost cost him his quarterback. I mean, you would have needed a miracle, and then the bad coaching decisions down the stretch. I mean, you need to kick a field goal and get a touchdown, and yet you're not doing, like the final drive, they didn't throw a single pass in the end zone. How did you expect to win the game if you don't throw a single pass in the end zone? You need 2 scores.
Yeah. So again, it's the same problem with, like, we saw it last year with St. Louis. So this is two conference championships in a row for the Battlehawks where they've just gotten outmatched, outclassed, whatever, and it's kind of like, I ain't gonna say it's disheartening because as long as the XFL is a thing, I don't expect them to lose their team. You get what I'm saying? Like, that home crowd is great, and they just got taken right out of it yesterday, like almost immediately. That one touchdown, I think it was they scored one touchdown. San Antonio did to make it 14-0. dude there was like no one around him. Like
the Justin Smith touchdown. Yeah, he literally could have done trigonometry on his way to the end zone. Like it literally, like he literally didn't have to. He like walked to the end zone.
Like it was like.
I mean, but that was a real tight window throw. Like Chase Garber's, like, I mean, that was a really good throw. I mean, it's probably his best throw of the day.
And then you got the one that you put in the group chat, the 69-yard rushing touchdown. You're like, St. Louis just might as well just go home like they are home.
I mean, but they're getting chased out of there. They're getting chased out of the building, and like there was really just a lack of effort on that touchdown. I don't know if you watched it. I mean, like it doesn't look like the defenders are even running full speed. Like it was strange.
But once again, like you get down 3 scores. Then all of a sudden you get your touchdown, and then you have a little momentum, and then you get another touchdown, and then now it's a 1-score game. It's like 19-15, I think, right? It's 19-15, and it's okay. Like the crowd's back in it, they're juiced. It's like, hey, we get 1 stop. We need 1 stop. We get 1 stop. We score. We win this thing. We go to the championship. Da 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 da. And they just couldn't get that 1 stop. They just couldn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, they just continue running the football extremely effectively. I mean, after that touchdown, I mean, so you had the Battlehawks scored a touchdown. The San Antonio has a 1-play drive where they get 8 for 62 yards. They eat 4 minutes out the clock, and they get a field goal. And then they punt the ball on their next possession, and they get a field goal attempt. I mean,
I fully expect some changes in I ain't gonna say changes in philosophy, because the St. Louis can the one thing St. Louis can hang their hat on is like, hey, our style of play works, right? Like our style of play. Now, if you lose a King Butler, that's a massive hypothetical. Like let's just say the hypothetical, right? Like hypothetical situation here. Wayne Phillips makes those calls, and somebody bites and says, you know what, hey, I'll bring him in, I'll see what he can do. And you lose a King Butler for the next XFL season. Like that's a massive hole that you got to replace.
I mean, it's not going to be easy to replace a 6'5" wide receiver who was the offensive player of the year.
6'5". Like people don't understand. Like, hey, 6'5" is 6'5" is 6'5". Like, real quick, like do you not know how people people are just now realizing like how much like bigger like NBA players are than NFL players? Because like you say 6'5" in the NBA, if you say 6'5" in the NBA, like bro, you're like a guard. That's a guard.
But yeah, shout out to the St. Louis Battlehawks. They had a fantastic season. But yeah, come up short. They got punched in the mouth by the Brahmas and never recovered. So let's swing into the UFL championship game. And in the inaugural UFL championship matchup, we got the San Antonio Brahmas going up against the Birmingham Stallions. This game is played in St. Louis. It's a real bummer that the Battlehawks didn't make it to this game, but I don't know what the crowd show, how it's going to look like crowd wise. But TJ, who do you think is going to win, and what do you think the keys are to the victory here between the Brahmas and the Stallions, who kind of play a similar style, right? A little bit. Yeah.
So if you're the XFL, like if you're the league in general, this is the matchup you want. This is two smash mouth physical.
Run it down your throat.
It's gonna be straight haymakers. It's gonna be haymakers and some body shots. It's dead ass gonna be the battle of attrition. It's gonna be some last man standing type football being played. Like I don't expect them San Antonio to average 6 yards.
Me either.
A carry.
And I also think San Antonio plays with they're playing with a massive chip on their shoulder. So like they were the number 1 defense in the entire league. You know how many players on their team made it to the All-Pro team?
None.
One. They had the best defense in the league, and yet they only bring 1 guy to the UFL All-Pro team. Like it just. So they play it with a massive chip on their shoulder, and I think that chip is going to propel them to win the championship. And I also, because of I just have a little bit of a bias here because I think because of what Wade Phillips said to Joaquin Butler, I just want to see the San Antonio Brahmas win. Like that's a classic move by Wade Phillips. He didn't have to do that. He doesn't have to do that kind of stuff.
Right.
But
really
but this San Antonio defense is for real. And I think if Michigan has a pretty good defense, but it's not as good as San Antonio's, and that Michigan defense gave the Stallions all they could handle last week, a couple days ago, actually, really. Give me the Brahmas winning the first inaugural UFL championship. Give me the Brahmas. And the game MVP, let's go Anthony McFarland, the running back for the Brahmas.
For the Brahmas, okay. I'm going to go with Birmingham. And
I'll see who's right next week, TJ.
I'm going to go with Birmingham. And I think, give me Adrian Martinez to be.
Ooh, all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's been our conference championship recap, our UFL championship preview. Let us know down in the comment section, who do you think is going to win the UFL championship? We're going to come back next week and we'll give you our recap of the game. And we're also going to give you a recap of the season as the UFL is about to be wrapped up. It just went by like that. Before we know it, the National Football League is going to be back. So this has been a nice little stopgap. We'll talk a little bit about the stuff we liked in the league, stuff we think could be improved. But thank you very much for joining us as we try to be the number one hub for all things UFL. I'm David Huppman. Right there's my co-host, Mr. TJ Hopkins. And TJ, what we do here at the Prime, my friend?
We bring the heat, kind sir.
Yes, sir. We'll be back here tomorrow breaking down some more NBA stuff. So you don't want to miss any of that content. I'm David Huppman. Y'all have a good night. Stay safe out there.
See you,
Peace out, brother.